I daily drive the iPhone 13. Now, when MTN launched 5G a couple months ago, I wasn't able to access 5G because iPhones didn't get MTN's 5G. That was until the iOS 16.2 update. I received that update like a week ago, but I just haven't been to an area that has 5G until today. Well, yesterday. I was able to test it out for myself, and of course I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. First off, I want to say it felt really cool to see 5G on my phone's status bar. I remember we were driving somewhere on the island and I was doing something on my phone and then I just saw 5G, and out of excitement I just took a screenshot. But yeah, it didn't last long. I wanted to do a speed test, but in seconds it switched back to LTE. It felt like a letdown, but I was kind of confident that where we were going to get 5G. For some reason. And yeah, we did. After we got there, with a bit of walking, I just noticed again that I had 5G on my status bar. This time I did a speed test and I got, I think, 800 Mbps, which according to Google is extremely fast. Next thing I wanted to do was grab my sister's phone so I could record my own phone and show 5G at the top. I took 2 steps forward and it was gone. Again. This happened again a few minutes later. But the next time it happened, I was prepared. I was with my sister's phone, so I took the shot, and the next thing I did was take some real life tests. I downloaded the Netflix app, took me seconds. I watched a YouTube video, zero buffer. I moved the playhead to different parts of the video. It was so fast, it was almost like the video was already downloaded. I was definitely impressed. But yeah, as I kept moving around, it kept switching between 5G and LTE. And I think that's the biggest problem with 5G. That's coverage area or range. To find 5G is one thing, but to keep it on 5G is another thing. Marquez in his video mentioned how the signals are blocked or disrupted by things like trees, buildings, stuff like that. And then he said the real solution is to have multiple of these 5G nodes. So as you move around, even with these obstacles in the way, you can still maintain that 5G signal. And for now, that is the problem. There aren't too many of these 5G nodes. So that's why you can take 2 steps forward and then it switches back to LTE. But another thing I noticed is sometimes even while it's on 5G, it gives you terrible, even worse than 4G speeds. The first time I ran a speed test, it gave me 800 Mbps, which, is super fast. The second time, it gave me 400 Mbps, which is still pretty good. The third time though, it gave me 44 Mbps. The fifth time, it gave me 92. But I think this relates to the first problem. Because of the not too many 5G nodes and the obstacles, it would sort of weaken the signal and then lead to terrible 5G speeds. There are a lot of 4G towers. You could go on a 30-minute journey and it would never trickle down to 3G. It would always be at 4G. So you can kind of trust 4G to be more consistent and rely on it, but you can't say the same for 5G. And that's why I personally think 5G in Nigeria and even all around the world is still kind of like a gimmick. There was this LG phone that you could use gestures in the air just above the screen, kind of hover around the screen, and you could control the phone with the gestures. It was cool. It didn't work all the time. People who own the phone probably used it for a week, and then after then really only used it to kind of show their friends oh, look what my phone can do. That's kind of how I see 5G. Just like I wouldn't tell people to buy the LG phone specifically for the air gesture feature, I wouldn't tell people to buy a phone specifically because of 5G. If it happens to support it, cool, but it's not a deal breaker. But yeah, those are my thoughts on 5G. I'll be curious to know what you guys think. Perhaps, do any of you live in any of these 5G supported areas? And if you do, what's your experience like? Or when do you think 5G would become mainstream, like 4G? Just leave a comment. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you when you see me.